This is episode 8 with Caitlin McCall. Welcome to the Eco-Conscious Diver Show. I'm your host, Caitlin, PADI scuba instructor, scientific diver, and science communications specialist. I'm here to remind you that being eco-conscious is cool. Learning about the environment can be fun, and climate change isn't a dirty phrase. Each week, I'll be getting up close and personal with thought leaders from around the globe as your weekly dose of motivation so that you can create epic change in your own life and become the best version of yourself possible. Are you ready to dive? What's up, everybody? If you're listening to this right now, this is an opportunity to join in with the eco-conscious diver community and use our passion to create a more sustainable blue planet. Eco-Conscious Diver is a lifestyle brand and podcast, illuminating our path to eco-conscious diving, overall sustainability, and a healthy planet for future generations. Head over to the website www.eco-consciousdiver.com for all other podcast episodes, other resources, and the Eco Dive Shop. This episode is packed with insight into how we can change our perception and the next generation's perception of sharks through education. I hope you'll enjoy this podcast with Jillian Morris, founder and president of Sharks4Kids. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm so excited to have you on the show today. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk a little bit about sharks.
Awesome. So we'll start with our intro question, which is, what are you loving in conservation and diving right now?
I am really loving seeing more women get involved, organizations founded by women, dive groups with women, just really the community coming together and supporting each other, promoting each other. I think that's super important. We all have the same goal, right? We're passionate about the oceans. We love diving. And whether it's trying to save sea turtles or use less plastic or save sharks, we're all in this together. And I think the more we can network and celebrate that and bring the community together. So seeing more of that, I think, is really amazing. And sort of, the grassroots level of helping people realize that one simple action does make a difference, especially when it can be really overwhelming, right? Climate change and plastic and endangered species, and it can really get overwhelming. But just kind of that initiative of one simple action that we take, from reading an ocean book to kids, or using a more sustainable product, using less plastics. There's all these little things that add up. And so I think seeing those movements right now, I love that. I love being a part of that and seeing more and more of that.
Absolutely. So speaking of reading books to kids, the goal of Sharks4Kids is to create a new generation of shark advocates through access to a dynamic range of educational materials. So tell me a little bit about your background and how this idea came to life.
Yeah, so my background is marine biology, and I was traveling around trying to figure out how to make a living as a marine biologist. I think a lot of people go through that. And so I was traveling, working on different research projects, diving, and got asked to speak to students in different classrooms, friends or teachers, mom's a teacher, come talk about swimming with sharks or studying them. Yeah, great, love it. And then asking, do you have any activities or resources to go with it? And I was like, I really don't. And I mean, I've been doing this for about 15 years, so it wasn't as easy to find things either. So the more I was combining then science and media and started doing more photography and video work, I kind of stepped back and went, wait, maybe I can create something. I'm going to, maybe. And I talked about it, kind of thought about it, how cool it would be. And then sort of finally went, you know what, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm actually going to do it. So spent about a year trying to figure out how to develop curriculum, and because that was not in my wheelhouse. I am not a teacher. I didn't have any training in that, so I learned a lot. And really the goal was to create free materials for teachers and students about why these animals are awesome, important, and make it accessible and easy to incorporate in the classroom. That was really the big part. So even if you're not a teacher in Florida that goes to the beach, you're in Utah, this is how you can bring it to the classroom, and this is why you should. And then also offering people to go into classrooms, either virtually or in person. We're doing a lot of virtual right now because the world is virtual for all of us. And also providing experiences for kids, hands-on learning opportunities. So really, it was kind of bringing those areas together using my science media background, connecting with colleagues. My two co-founders, my husband has filmed for a lot of TV shows. That's what he does, Discovery, Shark Week, Animal Planet, BBC. So we have no shortage of amazing shark footage. My other friend had worked and had just finished his PhD studying tiger sharks, so kind of brought us together, and we'd all visited classrooms and done that, and all kind of brought our backgrounds together, because ultimately we believe kids can make a difference. We believe that kids have a voice, and if we empower them early enough with facts and interesting information about sharks, that hopefully when they grow up and start getting older and they hear monster, killer, man-eater about sharks, they know differently. They know the facts, and they spread that message. They make sustainable choices. They support shark conservation. So really getting that information to them at a young age so that they grow up with a different opinion of these animals. And I really believe that they are a voice and they can make a difference. So how do we get that material to them?
That's amazing. And it's crazy just what one generation can change. You know what I mean? Because you think about, and I'm sure this is probably one of the things that you always get hit with is like the Jaws scenario. And, I don't know, do you know what year maybe that movie came out?
It's at least, isn't it 30 or 40 years old? I feel like it's at least maybe 40 years old or something. So it wasn't recent anyway. So
yeah. But just, you think about in the span of time, 40 years is not that long, and so for us to go from everyone having that mentality to where we are now is a huge achievement. And it's, people like you doing outreach and speaking to people. So I think it's just great and getting to kids early, really. It's awesome. And I saw that you guys have a huge reach. I think it was 128,000 students that you've taught to, and over like 56 countries. So tell me about your team. How many people do you guys have? How do you kind of coordinate all that?
Yeah, so we learned very quickly that we were going to need help. We brought on a business director, because we're all scientists, media people, we're not business. I don't have a business hat. I have one now. I had to learn, which was part of the journey, which has been really incredible. And then we realized that as we were growing, that we needed people to go out and do classroom visits or do Skypes or volunteer at events. And we were getting approached by people that wanted to be part of this. And so we have a volunteer program and an ambassador program. So kind of volunteers, after they've done and been with us for so long, they kind of become an official ambassador. We have about 20. Most of them are women, because I think in this field, whether we're talking shark science, diving, or the film work, all of those are still pretty male dominated. And so I really believe that if someone goes into a classroom and a woman can stand in front of a group of students, those kids see men on TV doing all of those careers. They don't always see women. So it's super important to me that young girls can relate to someone and go, oh, I'm like her, I can do this too. So that's a big part of what's important to me. Not that I don't want all kids to get involved, but I think because I grew up in a small town and every person that came to school with animals was a guy, everyone on TV working with animals, it was men. And so I just want young girls, young women, other women to realize that this is possible. We're doing this, and you can do this too. So our ambassadors have all different backgrounds, a lot of science, but we have photographers, divers that really just want to share their passion for the ocean, their experience with kids. And, we have artists that help us creating materials. And so, yeah, just to get kids excited and engaged and hopefully see someone that they can relate to and connect with. And so that's really, our ambassador program allows us to reach a lot more people. We do a ton of virtual work even before things became all virtual. That's what we do. So we were very well prepared for the COVID situation because we do, hundreds of Skypes a year, Google Hangouts, things like that. So we were prepared for that, which was, we're happy to be able to provide that resource. And I'm super proud of this amazing team of passionate people that I get to work with.
Awesome. And I am actually have been getting your emails with all of the awesome webinars that you guys have been promoting. Tell them a little bit about the webinar series you've got going on now.
Yeah, so we've always done Skype sort of like one-on-one with classrooms. They're very interactive. We also have done like Google Hangouts, 5, 6, 7 classrooms with a marine scientist monthly. So we had talked about sort of doing a larger scale webinar format. And so we had talked about it, experimented a little bit, and this really gave us the push to launch that. And very lucky in having worked with sharks for about 17, 18 years now, between the research side of things, but also in the television world and media world, we have a lot of contacts. And so it seemed like a great idea to let's connect some of these amazing people that we've worked with and let them tell their story. Share their research, share their experiences. And I think it's been a lot of fun. We're doing weekly ones and people from all over the world. And I'm hoping, and the feedback from the guests has been, it's great for them to also have a chance to share their work and what projects they're doing. And because maybe they don't always do this. And this is providing, the time is there, the platform is there. And I really love connecting students with real life people in these careers. It's not someone in a book, but maybe it is someone like we've had people from Shark Week. We've had Greg Scomo. We had Paul Clerkin. We had Paul DeGelder. We have Vicky Vasquez coming up next week. And these are hopefully and probably people that these kids have seen or watched. And now they're getting to connect with them on that level. So I'm having so much fun. We have, great hosts, and the guests have been amazing. So I think hopefully the parents and teachers and students are enjoying it, but we're also having a lot of fun with it as well.
That's awesome. And so the best way for them to get on that list is just to go to your website, subscribe, and then they'll get all the notifications for that.
Yep, we send the newsletter out, and on the website you can also there's a section called webinars under education, so you can see upcoming webinars and then also watch all the previous ones. They're on our YouTube channel. So, they're usually, sometimes they're live, sometimes it takes a day or two depending on who's recording it and the internet situation. But yeah, if you miss something, but there's deep sea sharks, different parts of the world, little sharks, epaulet sharks, that was amazing. All different types of research, diving, photography, stuff on white sharks. So there's a lot of different opportunities for learning depending on what you're really interested in. So definitely, even if you miss them, they're there to watch and check out.
Wow. So if there are people that, are really into sharks, but they just don't know what career they want to go into with regards to sharks, this would be a really good resource for them to go in and watch from all aspects, right? They'd be able to see a whole bunch of different types of careers that they could have with sharks.
Yeah, and it's important for people of all ages to realize that you don't have to be a scientist. Yes, that's obvious, a route for studying them and for conservation, but we have artists. People, maybe you're a writer, maybe you are, you're really interested, you're an engineer and you're looking more at, you want to be an engineer and build some of the tech that scientists are using to study sharks, or a diver going and photo IDing. I think, and we definitely have a lot of adults, college students watching, which I love. I love for them to see and think about ways that maybe they didn't realize that they already have some skills and talents that actually are valuable, and they can do something with that. It isn't straight science. But science is an option, and to see what marine scientists do, sometimes there's this idea of what that looks like, but it's very, very different. There's a lot of really incredible opportunities out there. And so, yeah, hopefully it's exposing kids to, or adults, or everyone, to all these different opportunities and maybe they hadn't thought about before.
Yeah, definitely. And so I saw also in your educational resources, you have all sorts of stuff for, basically there's like two sides, right? So it's like the education for teachers and then education for students. Do you think that either one of those is more focused on, or would you say you kind of split the time equally between those?
I mean, really, with our teaching guide resources, it's sort of lesson plans with a guide. So even if you don't know what a shark is, never heard of a shark, you can use our resources and teach a shark lesson. And we align them with sort of next generation science standards, ocean literacy, so that they're meeting standards to make it even easier for teachers to bring into their classroom. And then there's all sorts of activities that go with that: crafts, coloring sheets, as you get older, slightly more involved, complex activities. But then also resources if kids just want to do a craft and they can go on and check things out, or posters, fact sheets. We're working on a lot of new content on the back end as well. But we also just launched, we do a lot of virtual reality at events. We have a couple of virtual reality videos taking people on shark dives. And we've now added that to our website. It's a 2D version. So you don't have the goggles on, but you can do it on your phone or with your mouse, and you can actually watch the video and move around and see stuff. So not the full 360, but because we're not doing events, we're not in schools right now, we wanted to offer this, and this is free now on our website. So, and that's under education as well. So yeah, I would just encourage people to go in and have a bit of an explore. We try and incorporate a bit of both for everybody, so that, really all ages and levels can learn something and do a fun, engaging activity.
Yeah, and I guess if there's moms listening right now, that would be a great thing to do with your kids at home as well.
Yeah, parents right now, I mean, there's a lot of parents homeschooling, right, that weren't homeschooling before. So we have lots of crafts, hands-on activities, they're still science-based, they're still learning, they're fun, like coloring sheets that have facts on them. But yeah, the videos, we have a lot of videos, not just the webinars, but videos in general. And now this 2D, it's about a 3-minute video, so lots of different species. And yeah, you can go on, if you're missing the ocean, it's a great way to sort of have a little bit of an explore with some amazing animals.
That's awesome. I mean, I myself love coloring pages. I bought a little color book, and it's so good for stress. Just get out your colored pencils and.
Yeah, we've had these how to draw series as well on our webinars. We've had a couple of artists and how to draw, and I really enjoyed it. It was very therapeutic. It was so nice to just sit down and be creative and then go back and color it after. So I know we've had a lot of adults joining, and I've gotten messages watching that one as well. So kids learning how to draw, but it's also for, I always say to people when I'm hosting, like, I'm going to try this, and this is, I don't do the drawings for Sharks4Kids stuff. I get other amazing, talented artists to do it, but it's so fun. It's just, I really enjoyed it. And, we have a great white, a basking shark, a winghead, which is a type of hammerhead. So those are really fun ones to do, parents and kids together. So.
Yeah, I want to do one of those. That's awesome. So you mentioned you guys going to a lot of events, and I saw you have a whole list of events that you guys usually attend. And what else can they expect from you at those events besides the 3D?
So it depends on the event, where we are, the setup, the space, things like that. But we really try and have one, share a little bit of what we do, what we offer, connect with people, information about sharks, what's happening with them, and then some sort of interactive activity for people to participate in, whether it's a matching game or like a wheel, an activity wheel, or bigger events, things like Tortuga or SharkCon, which are Florida events, expanding to some of our other ones, we have a shark cage that you sit in and you watch the dive and the virtual goggles, which is really, really fun. So yeah, it's just, there's always some sort of interactive, because I think that's, people take a message away. It sticks with them if they've done something. We have like little shark tagging activities so students can go through trying to do the same data collection we do when we're tagging sharks. So they get to be a junior shark scientist. So yeah, no matter what the event is, it's really just kind of sharing information, facts about sharks, but then some sort of interactive activity that hopefully gets them, excited and thinking differently about these animals.
That's so cool. So a question I've been kind of just dying to ask you is, what do you think about shark diving and sustainable shark diving, since this is your main focus, and particularly shark feeding on dives?
Yeah, so this is obviously, it's a super controversial issue, and I think there's no set answer because I think every dive operator is different. So, and I've been in places where I've got, different operators, and living in Bimini, we have the Hammerhead Dive, multiple operators. And so I think the biggest thing for people, I think it's amazing. I think the Bahamas is the shark diving capital of the world. More people go there to dive with sharks than anywhere. More people learn about sharks through that diving. So yes, are most of them like, they go there on purpose to see sharks, they want to see sharks, a certain species. But there's a lot of people that go because they're facing their fear and they want to see those animals, they want to learn. And I've seen people go from shaking and not wanting to get in the water to coming out like, that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And there is nothing more powerful than putting someone in the water with a shark and having them see the reality, the beauty, the power. They're not man-eating monsters. And you can see that immediately. But it's also, if you're looking for an operator, you need to make sure they're, one, safe. They do it with respect, but also respectful to the animals. They're not, harassing. It's not about, them trying to get a specific selfie or shot or whatever. Like, it really has to be a balance of keeping people safe. These are wild animals. They absolutely deserve our respect at all times, but also keeping the animals safe and teaching people. We work with the Bimini Scuba Center all the time because, one, they set up the dive. They know the animals. Their dive crew are local, so I love supporting local operators when you go someplace. But they support the Shark Lab, the research station that's on the island. They do a lot with us, so the education programs. And their team are talking about sharks. They're teaching people. So really, it's conservation, science, education, and diving all coming together. That's the ideal package. So if you're someone who's looking to go dive, do your homework, do some research, ask people, find out, and find out how an operator works, because they're not all the same. And this applies to everywhere you go. And so you just want to make sure. I think those things are really, really important. And are there operators out there that I would never dive with? Absolutely. I don't, I've seen the way, I don't like the way they run the dive or how they're working with the animals. That does happen. So I'm not saying that, yes, it's great, everybody. You have to pick and choose your operators. There are people that are doing it really, really well and it's benefiting sharks. Others not as much. So I would just say to people, yes, it's amazing. Yes, in the Bahamas, it generates almost $114 million a year that goes back into the economy. These animals are worth more alive than dead. It's a sanctuary, so they're protected, but that value is maintaining that protection, right? So they're super important for the environment and the ecosystem, but also the economy. And I don't care where you're from or what you do, you understand how money works. And so, yeah, these animals are definitely bringing value in alive. And so, yeah, it's I think it acts as a model for other places where, instead of catching sharks, fishing for them, getting people in the water and seeing them, and that transition is happening in different places. But yeah, it's really, really important.
Yeah, I really like that that mindset that you have on it. did a shark dive in Honduras when I was in high school. And, this is before I really knew anything about conservation. And so I just went on it, and they had me kind of go out and shake the bait tin. And so the blood's going everywhere. The sharks are like hitting my legs. All this is pretty crazy for I was like 15. But all of the people that were working on the boat knew all the sharks by name. They were they had certain ones that they were like petting. They all came in like one at a time and ate. It was like not their first rodeo. It was like a very well done. It was like a well-oiled machine, how they did it and everything. And but then later, in school and stuff, like you said, it is really controversial. And I've had people say, "Oh, I can't believe that you went on a shark dive, in high school." And I'm like, well, I don't think the way that they did it was awful. And also, I do have a different perception about sharks after being in the water with them too, because I saw how graceful they were. And even now when I'm leading dives, if a shark comes towards me, I'm not like running to get out of the water. I'm like, okay, well, they're probably just as scared of me. And most of the time they are. They just come up and then they're like, oh, oops. And then they go the other way,
Yeah. And I think, if we could get in the water and see sharks all the time, there are places you do see them naturally, and that's amazing. But I think sometimes that's getting harder as well with all the things that we're doing to the ocean. So, yeah, I think it's something that can be a really powerful tool if done correctly, with regulations, with protocols. It can be really effective for conservation. And, I know a lot of people, people say stuff to me all the time that how can you do that? And I respect people's opinions. I've seen the impact firsthand with adults and kids, what this is possible and what this does. And to me, it's really powerful.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having an honest conversation with me about that. I think that's really important for people to hear. So if there was one thing that you want to tell our listeners about sharks, or one of the main points that you try to get across in all of your teachings, what do you think you would want to tell?
I think the biggest thing is that despite all the efforts that are being made with conservation and education, people still have this idea that they're man-eating monsters, and they're not. I want people to know that they're important for healthy oceans, for healthy ecosystems. They're amazing. There's over 500 different species of shark. They're not all the same. And so, yeah, just kind of, I think that idea or that myth that there's some sort of monster and, killer shark, man-eater, we see it. It's in the headlines. It's not even just crazy movies. It's in the news. That idea, that myth, that stereotype is one of the hardest to fight against, because it's really deeply ingrained in society and what we grow up and learn. And so I think I would just want people to get to see sharks, to get in the water with them and to see their beauty and power, and to look in the eye. You can make eye contact with a tiger shark, and it's life-changing. I know that probably sounds a little weird, but to be in the water with an animal that large on their terms in their world, and they look at you, there's very few things in life that, I think are so incredible and so natural and raw and wild. It really connects us with nature. And I think there's a huge disconnect with us and nature and the natural world. So yeah, I want people to see that. I want people to have that moment. And that's what I want people to know, is just how incredible, remarkable, amazing these animals really are.
It's beautiful. It really is. So also, I saw that you guys, of course, you're taking donations, but I did see something really cool about specifically giving donations to the Bahamian children, because, well, tell them a little bit about exactly why you're doing that and what you're giving them.
Yeah, so because I live in the Bahamas, we do a lot of work there. I think students there people travel from all over the world to swim with sharks in the Bahamas, but the local kids don't get to go out. And so I think that's really sad. I think that it's super important for them. They're the guardians. They're going to be the reason the shark sanctuary continues to exist. They're going to be the reason that you're going to be able to go to the Bahamas and dive with sharks. And so we need to include these kids. And conservation is effective when a community gets involved. And when you create connection with students to nature, the ocean, sharks, you create empathy. Empathy is absolutely necessary for conservation to be a success. You have to have that. And so we need the communities involved, and I believe that starts with kids. So we already do a lot of projects, but and sadly, COVID actually canceled. We were headed to Abaco to go to schools that had reopened, doing the best they can. They got devastated by Hurricane Dorian. And so we wanted to go in, do a little lesson, but also just bring some hands-on activities, the VR goggles. We have some 3D models for the kids to paint and get to keep supplies for the schools, books, things like that. That trip has been delayed. I'm not sure when we're going to get to do it. We had at least our first trip. We were supposed to go in March, and then the world changed. So that will still happen. So that is a direct campaign. And what you can do is you can sponsor directly giving a kid a shark. So it's a 3D model, exact replica of a blacktip shark. We're working on maybe getting some other species as well. Paint supplies for the school, books for the school, and that VR experience, plus some little activity packets. So you can donate specifically for that. And we're going to go in. I think we're trying to give out 5,000 of these little sharks. That's our sort of goal. And over time. And yeah, so, that's one way you can support in general. Donations go right back into our programs, whether we're visiting a school in the US, we're providing a free outreach program. We take students out shark tagging and also to see sharks in the Bahamas through some snorkeling programs. So all of the donations really go right back into getting information to kids and providing some sort of learning experience for them. But the Bahamas in particular is just, it's my home. I love it. I'm not from there, but it's been my home for 8 years, and I've been visiting and doing project there for much longer. So, I really feel like it's super important to connect these kids with the ocean, and whatever we can do to give back to them, they are the guardians, and we need them to care about these animals. And hands-on opportunities to learn and interact are super. That's going to stick with them. So when they're old enough to vote, make sustainable choices, they're going to make ones that support the environment, not just sharks in the ocean, but the environment in general. So that's a really close to my heart project, and I was really sad that we had to delay that, but it will happen. I don't know when. I mean, obviously everybody, right? The whole world's on standby. So yeah. But it'll be either, later in the fall when school resumes, because now we're getting to the point that schools are going to be out anyway. So in the fall or early next year. So you can definitely kind of follow that. We have information on the website about that. And I've been doing updates for people as well. And so we'll continue to update. And as soon as we can get that first trip scheduled, we'll definitely let people know. So that's one that's, really, we can't replace houses or, things they lost, but our only hope is that we can bring a little bit of joy and fun and interaction and that fun learning experience for these kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you can get someone to laugh and have fun, that's when they remember it, really.
Yeah. These people, some of these places in Abaco still don't have power. These kids have been through a lot. These teachers have been through a lot. So I know the teachers are really excited, too, to have us come in and spend a day with the kids and do some programming, just to be, different people to come in and see and provide a different experience. So, I just, trying to give back in the way that we can, and hope that, it brings some smiles and some joy to people.
Yeah, and guys, I'll be linking the website for Sharks4Kids in the description, and also all of their social media. So I've been saying this throughout the pandemic, but if you don't have money to donate at this time, one of the best ways that you can help a nonprofit or a small business right now is just to like and share their posts to your audience. We all have 2,000 friends on Facebook, so if you're sharing one of their posts to your 2,000 friends, you're helping tremendously, more than you know. So
Yeah, absolutely. And we want people to know our resources are free. I want parents and teachers and students to know that this is out there. It's free. Use it. Ask us questions. Message us. We're doing the webinars, but I spoke to 3 or 4 classrooms today just on a one-on-one session. We do that as well. It doesn't have to be a webinar with open to the public. So it's a tough time, and we don't expect people to donate right now. But yeah, just simply sharing that our resources are available, that would be amazing. So that's a really big thing for us. Is ultimately we just want people to know they're available, and please use them. That's what they're there for.
And if our listeners are looking for ways that they can volunteer their time with you, are there ways to do that as well?
Yeah, so we do have our volunteer program. You can just email us through the website, say you're interested, and then we sort of go through an application project. We kind of do it twice a year just because we are small, so it's not really ongoing. It's a little bit too much to try and do all the time. So we usually have twice a year kind of an enrollment application process we go through and to find out, what you're interested in. We have volunteers that do events only. That's what they want to help out with. Great. We have volunteers that create curriculum, artwork, activities, or volunteers that are in the classroom or virtual and doing things. So it's really something for everybody. And a lot of different backgrounds, different ages as well. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a specific age. You don't have to be like a college student trying to get an internship or something. It's open to all ages and different backgrounds. You don't have to be a scientist to work with us. So and our volunteers, make our work possible. So it's a lot of fun. So you can just reach out, and then we usually do it in sort of January, August. But we're kind of seeing how things are going to go. This year, I assume by August we should be kind of enrolling. Maybe it'll be earlier. It's everything. But just reach out, send a message, and we can go from there.
Awesome. So one last thing I do want to touch on, because I think this is so cool. So you have the coolest Instagram. Of course, you have Sharks4Kids, but this is also Bimini Shark Girl. And you have wedding photos of you in water, like with sharks around you.
Yeah, so I'm really lucky because my husband also loves sharks, probably as much as I do. We met on doing a tiger shark dive. So we knew who the other person was, but we actually physically met. I took him on a tiger shark dive because I was running trips, and we've been together ever since. So sharks are a big part of our adult lives. It's what brought us to the Bahamas. It's our careers. It's our life. We've traveled the world filming and tagging sharks together, running Sharks4Kids together. So it seemed appropriate that we have a couple of sharks join us for the wedding photos. So it was just, and the thing is, it's funny, I share that because it was before Instagram. It was before, and it was simply just for us. It was something that we wanted to have that moment captured. And I was like, wow, I'm sharing it on Instagram because it was before that, and it wasn't taken with that mindset, which I think sometimes people take that photo now, right, to get there. And that was just simply a cool moment for us, something that really mattered to us, and something in a place that was really special. And Bimini the lemon shark is iconic, and we'd worked at the Shark Lab, and so it was just something that we wanted to have that photo so that we can hang and have in our house and look at and remember as part of it. We took all of our friends shark diving. We took our parents out. We did all this stuff. So it's really an amazing memory, but it's a part of our life and who we are. And so, I'm really, really glad we have that and had that moment.
That's so cool. I love it. It really is a family organization. I can tell that. I really like that. Very cool. All right. So do you have anything else that you want to shout out that we didn't touch on?
No, I think that covered a lot of stuff. So it was great.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to see what you come out with next, and to stay in touch and hopefully speak with you again about all the awesome stuff you guys are doing. So that is a wrap. We love you guys, and thanks for tuning in. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast and learned some valuable information about the journey of conservation. This is a constant process of learning, growth, and understanding, so I look forward to chatting with Jillian again. Please leave a review if you can, and go to www.eco-consciousdiver.com to check out all other podcasts, resources, and everything we've got going on there. See you next week.